Well, I mean, another interview. We finally got a chance to get Kat in here, Rojo. Another day with you.
Finally,
in the studio. And big shout out to Renee, the Poet King, for hooking it up because Renee is our guy who connects us with a lot of stuff.
And right now I know he's going through some personal matters, so
big time. And
our prayers to him and his family. So
yeah, we definitely want to send a lot of love out to Renee because we know how hard it is to lose someone. And with this particular interview coming up, we're going to talk a little bit about that, and we're also going to talk about the importance of a lot of things behind things like that. But before we get into that, before we start going over all the stuff that we normally do, we want to thank Kat, the biker chick, for hanging out with us and putting up with some of our stuff that we had going on. Thanks, Kat. We appreciate it. Especially
Kat was awesome.
She was.
She was awesome. She was on point on a lot of things. And I know that there were certain things that were kind of like, can I talk about it? Should I talk about it? And eventually she came around about it. And, she opened up, which was honestly, we adore her for it and we appreciate her for it. And I know that she
dealing with our mistakes. She's like, man, these guys are like amateurs, and we weren't that bad. I mean, we were. Just,
I say the same thing about us. That we're amateurs. Sometimes.
Oh, come on, it's not that bad. I think you're overthinking it sometimes,
bro. Have you seen some of our shit?
I have.
I'm just calling it out, and that's the thing about us, that we'll call ourselves out.
Yeah. So, in fact, head on over to our YouTube channel, Tapped In Media. It's on YouTube, and also we are available on Instagram and TikTok, @tappedin_media, and you can see a lot of our posts right there. We have a bunch of interviews up right there. But big shout out to Kat for bringing us on, and she has a really cool event that we're going to put a link on our YouTube channel. Most of the links we put on there are on the YouTube channel, so go ahead and head over there, click through, buy a ticket to Street Queens with the Z, y'all, because that's how she does it. It's with the Z. Okay, so I don't make the call. That's on her. But now, or no, we also want to thank our sponsors, man. So let's go, Rojo. You got that, bud?
Oh, you want me to do our sponsor?
Yeah, I want you to do sponsor. Go for it.
Shout out to our, of course, Hersini from Del Cid Coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Go to coffeedelcid.com and use promo code tappedin_media to get your discount.
From us.
Shout out to her. She's going through her surgery. It's a uterus. It's a very complicated surgery that she went through.
And we have a great, sorry to interrupt you right there, but we have a great video with her that we did at the Inglewoods Farmer Market. We were able to hang out with her and do a couple of interviews and talk to her about her business and what she does there. And you got to go see it. She talks about how important it is for women to take care of themselves and go get it regularly checked. So you got to head over to our YouTube channel to see all that. And big shout out to Café Del Cid.
That's right. And then, of course, Upland Nutrition out in the beautiful city of Upland.
I guess. I mean,
you need to go try them out, bro.
Beautiful. I'm not talking about Upland Nutrition.
I'm just saying you need to go try out Upland Nutrition.
Well, that I want to do, but
after, dude, you work out, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so after your workout, go for a post-workout, get some of their protein shakes or their protein donuts or their protein waffles. I guarantee you're gonna fucking love it.
I trust you, brother. I'm just saying.
And of course, shout out to our partnership with 3P Studio.
This beautiful studio provided by
in
Andy.
the city of
Pomona. That's where we are at. That's where we do our recordings. Big shout out to you, Andy Q. We appreciate it, man. That's awesome. And thank you so much for letting us use
And
your
of
studio.
course, shout out to our latest
newest
sponsor,
edition, man. He provides tacos and breakfast burritos.
Who, by the way, was on
Indicted
TV recently. And that should be coming out.
I don't even know what Indicted TV is. Every time you tell me, I don't even know what it is.
You can't say that.
I'm just saying.
Because we're trying to have her on.
Well, now I'm going to find out what the hell it is. But like at first when you told me that, I didn't know what it was.
Oh, my God.
I'm just thinking.
Anyway, he was on Indicted TV. But shout out to him for always providing the bomb-ass tacos.
That's right, man.
The burritos. So shout out to you, my guy. And
an extreme amount of fireball shots, Javier. Yeah. My God. Big shout out to Talk About Good. They're in Upland as well, man. And he always comes by and hooks it up, too. He actually hooked us up with breakfast burritos for Kiki's interview, which is posted. Yep. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for that. We appreciate it. Big shout out to our sponsors, man. They're awesome. But now.
So now, the best way to introduce this next guest is, we had the honor of having Big Mike on our podcast.
Absolutely.
He gave us the opportunity to come into his home, which he calls the Barrage, which, by the way, is badass fucking setup, honestly.
Yeah, and if you want to go see that video, we also have it on our YouTube. I know I keep pushing it, but we have a bunch of stuff.
And if you want to do a recording there, I know that was something that he wanted to do. So if you want to do a recording there, I think that eventually some pictures will come up. They'll be posted. That way you guys can at least see the layout and be able to see like, okay, that's a dope ass setup. Let's do a podcast there. But may he rest in peace. Long live Big Mike.
Absolutely.
But now we have the honor and the blessings to be able to speak with his wife, who has been the one to have to deal with the loss of her husband, but not just the husband, also the loss of her son, which occurred 5 months prior. And my respects to her, honestly, because a lot of us would have folded.
Oh yeah,
honestly,
that's tough. A
lot of us would have folded and would have said "fuck life."
Yeah, for sure.
Let's be real. Like we would have said "fuck life." We don't need to. I just don't want to deal with life no more.
Yeah,
I lost my son. I lost my husband
in such a short span.
Like you said, in such a short span. But through the grace of God, through her beliefs and through the strength of her faith, she's kept it going, and now she's doing beautiful things that are impacting people in a very positive way. And I just want to introduce Big Mike's wife, Lysette, to the show.
Lysette, welcome to the show. Right on. Welcome to Therapeutic Media.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you guys inviting me, wanting to listen to our story. I know you guys interviewed Mike and he talked about that, and it would kind of like opened up doors for you guys.
It did.
And Mike was an amazing human being.
No doubt.
I would never have been able to do what I'm doing right now if he hadn't taught me all of that. So
you guys have a big following as well.
True.
Again, I always go back to when my wife showed me his Instagram, and it was Chicano Style Bikers, and she started noticing the pictures. Like, these are our neighbors. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, they're over 30,000. What the fuck are they doing?
Yeah, what are we doing? We suck.
Like, yeah. I'm like, what are they doing? And so I'm like, damn. And I was like, I have to find a way to interview him. And I had talked to Russ, about like, hey, I think we need to interview our neighbor. And again, it goes back to like, well, our whole thing is about interviewing these people and interviewing this and that. But when we finally reached out to Mike and got the opportunity to talk to him and heard his story, I think him and I realized this is the kind of stories we need.
For sure.
It's not about the influence. It's not about the vloggers. It's not about the YouTubers. It's about real people connecting with people in the real world and hearing hearing Big Mike struggle with cancer resonated with so many. And like I told him, because of Big Mike, and I'm going to give Big Mike the majority of the credit for giving us such the platform that we're at now,
right,
and the following that we've had. Honestly,
I mean, your mother-in-law reached out to us.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Your mother-in-law still reaches out to us.
Yeah. She gives us blessing and prayers all the time. That's so sweet of her.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
A big shout out to Big Mike's mother-in-law. Thank you for that. We appreciate it, for real. There's no doubt. It doesn't go unlooked.
Yeah, I'm feeling that impact right now. I have people from all over the world that'll reach out to me and tell me somehow, in some way, how he made an impact in their life with his story. The YouTube channel, he had created the YouTube channel. He had years ago, but he only had like a couple videos on there and kind of just stopped it. And then when he was diagnosed with cancer, he took it upon himself. He wanted to do it together, him and I, and talk about our marriage, how we met. And it was his way of kind of leaving a stamp in some way, a way of having people be able to go back and watch the videos, hear his voice, see what he looks like, see how he sounds. And so there was a lot of videos where we did together on our marriage, on how his journey was impacting me. And then he did a lot of them by himself, talking about his past, who he was as a person. And then we would do them together and talk about stuff, from his past, other women, how he wronged other people. And we just started getting just a lot of feedback on him, And then he was like, you know what, I think we're on to something.
He opened up about a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I was telling him, like, hey, you guys, before, I'm like, hey, make sure you check out his YouTube channel. And I told him, like, dude, he even opened up about his dad and his stepdad and how he had to move out. And then how his real dad went chasing after them wherever they moved.
Yeah.
I mean, he went in on all of that. So
I remember when we were in the barrage, he did say, you know, that he wanted to leave like some sort of impression on his legacy. And he said that I wanted to leave something that where people can go back and look at it and hear my thoughts and hear my voice and see who I was and kind of follow my journey. I mean, that takes a lot of courage. Most people don't want to do that because they start to change.
I'm going to tell you something. The YouTube, all the stories that he shared on the channel, I had already heard about those stories, from the women to what he did going to get into, you know, YA and, you know, all the other things that he talked about, from like his family issues, from his dad, his mom, from other things that happened to him as a child, trauma. I had heard it all. So it was very therapeutic for him. It was very, a lot of people were like, you know, have you ever been to counseling? Like they would talk to him and say, you know, you should go to counseling. Well, his counseling sessions, you know, it allowed him to open up and talk about things that he only shared with me. And now everybody knows, you know.
You know, having said that, and I don't mean to cut you off. We always say that, like we always find a way to cut
No, it's
off.
a polite thing to do. You're good.
But Kat said the same thing. Is like she just can't see eye to eye with therapists. You know, so she's like, I see more eye to eye with people who have gone through it. And I'm like, you're right about that, because even I went through a therapist and counseling, and of course they can tell you like, so how do you feel right now? How is this going?
But that's their job, right?
But unless you actually can connect with somebody and feel the same type of like, yeah, I went through that, bro. Like, yeah, I feel you. Like, this is what happened to me. It's the same thing what you're trying to say is like, he opened up in a sense that he opened up to the world.
He showed his vulnerability.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
For someone like Mike to do that, I learned a lot from him, you know. He wanted me to join him on these videos and talk about our marriage, talk about us. And one of the things I know why this ultimately happened was because he had said, I really want you to go on there and talk about what happened to you personally. Yeah. And it was kind of just a natural progression, you know. I'm doing these videos with Mike. We're letting people in on our lives. And he passed, and now it's like, I was getting a lot of messages saying, well, you're going to continue your story, right? The story just doesn't end. Now it's like about me, grief. How am I dealing with it? And that's why I'm here. And
no doubt.
And now I'm like, everyone's kind of messaging me saying, hey, you know, we'd love to talk to you. Or I'm every single day, a day does not go by that I do not get a message of some kind saying what an impact the story is making in their lives. They're opening up doors. They're sharing the story with their kids, with their spouses, with, you know, or themselves. Right. From either cancer to what we're going to talk about with my son, you know? So.
Right. Yeah, we're going to talk more about that, but I do like...
One of the things that I've pointed out to my wife, usually when we lay in bed, and I'm not trying to get touchy.
Whoa.
No, not like that,
I'm just kidding.
I know. I'm being very real with you, is that I tell him, like, she literally is, you know, she's across the street from us, like, because she's our neighbor. So just so you guys know,
I thought at first you weren't going to say that, but
why not?
Okay.
We said it with Mike.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
It's the fact that she's now, you know, I'm not saying you're alone, but you don't have that other half of yours. And I try to tell my wife that a lot. Like, what is the point of us going through these stupid arguments? And I'm not trying to use it as an example, but it's more of like, appreciate the fact that you have me, as well as me appreciating the fact that I have you right now. Because we have our neighbor that no longer has her other half, who by all means, you guys are the epitome of a fucking powerful couple. Honestly.
Yeah.
I will say that. You guys are the epitome of a powerful couple. My wife has said that too. It's like, look at them. Look at all these pictures that they have. Because I'm not a guy that's going to go get a camera and like, take a picture. And I see how Mike really was like very open about, you know, taking pictures, even though he looks very like a hard fool that like, I ain't taking no pictures.
He wasn't big on taking pictures with who he was with until we got together. I'm hearing stories like from people who've known him before we met. They just said that meeting me just changed him, and he's talked about that. He has done videos on what he changed as a person to make himself a better person to be with someone like me, and he gives his take on all of that and what he needed to do to change. And, you know, we always said a woman can never change a man changes for the woman, you know? So
it's very true.
Yeah.
It's very true.
So he does videos on that. And, you know, I was blessed to have been, even though I thought our time would be forever, but it was a blessing to be able to be with him and take care of him and just love him until, you know, I got to be with him until the last day of his life, you know? So it was a beautiful blessing that life gave me, and I will cherish it forever.
So he's lost his dad to cancer. I've lost a aunt to cancer. I lost
my aunt
and your aunt.
I lost my aunt and my dad 18 hours. My Nina, it was her sister, 18 hours apart. Both from cancer.
Oh my God.
Queen of the Valley, Fontana, Kaiser, in January of 2011, and it was all cancer. But it was like it's a different type of healing when something like that happens, you know. And it takes a lot. But I mean, we were going to talk about too how you lost your son, you know, back in 24, right? And how again back to the short time span. Right. Sorry, I didn't mean
5 months. Yeah, no, it's all good. All good.
Yeah, and losing somebody, it's never. I don't care who it is. Like, it's super difficult, regardless of, you know, whether they're sick or whatever instance, you know, that it may be. But you know, where do you find now, like, yourself on the healing part? Like, you know, what do you do to heal you?
Well, that's a really good question. A lot of people ask me how I do it. I don't know. I really don't know. For your audience, what happened to my son was November 4th. It was a Monday, November 4th of last year. My oldest son messaged me and asked me if I've heard from Keegan. Keegan had just turned 18 the week prior. And he had just graduated high school in May. Here we are, you know, celebrating his birthday. We had a week later was his brother's birthday, and the following Monday, I get a phone call from my oldest son, his brother, asking me if I've heard from Keegan, and I was at work, and I said, no, well, what's going on? And he's like, look, you know, something's not right. And I called his phone and he wasn't answering. He kept going directly to voicemail. And I called his girlfriend's number, and a police officer answered the phone and told me that they had been involved in a traffic collision.
Wow.
And I needed to get to the hospital. So I called. I said, okay. And I remember asking him, who are you? I probably like 4 or 5 times. I'm not kidding. Where to the point where another police officer grabbed the phone from him and he said, ma'am, I need you to just get to the hospital. I said, okay. And I remember calling my oldest son and saying, this is what's going on. He's like, okay, just drive. And I said, okay. So I got in that car and driving to the hospital, and I called Mike. Mike was really sick at that point, and he was at home. And I said, something's wrong. He said, okay. I said, he's like, do you need me to get there? And I said, no, let me get to the hospital, find out what's going on. But I feel like deep down inside, I had a feeling something bad happened. And I remember driving to the hospital. I remember the girls at work were wanting to drive me because they could see that I was a little shaken up. And I said, no, I can drive myself. And I think I needed to register everything. And I was driving to the hospital, and I just remember just started crying and just asking God to please spare my child so that I can be his mom again. And just begging for a chance for me to be his mom, to not lose my child. And I just made it to the hospital, and I remember parking, and the phone rang, and it was a doctor. Yeah. And they don't call you. And I knew something was wrong. He said, are you here? And I said, yeah, I'm here. And I'm parking. Okay. By that point, my oldest son had already made it there to the hospital. So he met me there, and we walked into the ER, and they didn't know who they were. And I got to the ER. They took us into a private room, and I said, okay, I'm waiting for the doctors. And my son was the one who told me that he had heard that they had jumped off a bridge, off an overpass. And I just started crying and saying, how can this happen? And there was a part of me that just knew that something bad. I just kept saying it over and over in my head. And then the doctors came in and to tell us that he didn't make it. So him and his girlfriend jumped off an overpass. And by the grace of God, they didn't get hit by a car. She lived.
Wow.
And he passed away about an hour after at the hospital. And I just remember kind of being numb and just being like, this is just so surreal, almost like an out-of-body experience. I just remember screaming and crying and not knowing how to process all of it.
Of course.
It was just very a surreal, out-of-body experience is the best way I can possibly say
shocking
it.
As well.
It was very shocking.
Yeah, of course.
And in some weird way, I'm barely feeling it now.
Today.
Now, as these days, because now Mike passed away.
Right.
And Mike was my strength, my rock.
Of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think when Keegan passed away, I didn't have room or time to really mourn him because Mike was so sick.
He was sick already.
He was
already
very
dealing with his
sick.
cancer.
Right.
Mike was diagnosed with stage 4 esophageal cancer in December of 2022. So at that point, it had been 2 years he'd been fighting. So he was at the tail end of, we didn't know it, but at the tail end of his fight. And I remember when he came, my family came, we cried, we did. They both had went to the hospital as Jane and John Doe's because they didn't know who they were. They both had suffered concussions and all of that. So it was really traumatic. It was very, very traumatic.
Absolutely.
And when we went home, I remember Mike allowed me to cry. I remember he held me and I was just sobbing in the bed, screaming and crying. And the next day he looked at me and he goes, I need you to be strong for me. I need you to be strong. He's like, I need you to be strong because I need to focus on trying to stay alive as I possibly could for you.
Yeah. To help you, go through that.
He didn't want me to experience another death so soon. And he tried with all of his will to live. And he lasted just 5 months. And we buried Keegan at the end of November. And he had a beautiful, beautiful funeral. A lot of people were there. The bike community came. All of our friends came and supported it. He had so many, there was teachers, students, parents, my family, the motorcycle community was there. All of our friends were there. I mean, there was just, that little chapel at Forest Lawn had no chance. It was a beautiful send-off. He deserved it. And, when that was the last time Mike rode his bike too. He rode his bike to Keegan's funeral with a lot of our friends. And by March, he was put on hospice, and April 5th, Mike passed away.
Yeah, because even when we had interviewed Mike, he had mentioned that he was still given like about 6 months to a year, and he's like, I'm gonna continue pushing. And he's and I still remember in one of the clips where he says, "I'm gonna live my life the way I want to live. If I'm gonna go have a beer with my buddies, I'm gonna go have a beer with my friends."
Right.
Yeah.
He was not gonna, be scared. As he said, like, people who are scared of their cancer die quicker.
I've come to realize that with the loss of my son and the loss of Mike, I've come to realize that nothing is a coincidence. Nothing. I don't believe in coincidence anymore. Everything happens for a reason. From Keegan passing, from her living and him passing, it all has a purpose and a reason. From Mike passing when he did, the reason why I'm saying this is because Keegan was saved. Keegan believed in God. He had been struggling with depression since the age of 15. It's kind of like when it kind of started unraveling. He came to me and said, "Mom, I'm really sad. I don't understand why." And I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't understand it either. I was like, well, what do you have to be sad about? You have everything. Everything,
We'll never understand it in that manner.
Depression it's different for everybody, right?
Yes, exactly. So I didn't understand. And the more I talked to him and the more, he had attempted once before. So he had attempted once in 2023. And
the year prior then?
The year prior. Wow. Yeah, about a year and a half prior to it. And he was not successful. And I remember he went to the hospital and he's just like, "I'm never going to do that again. I'm going to get better." And he struggled. He struggled really very hard with depression and where he was at. He would cry and say, I want to see life the way you see it. I just don't see it that way.
Right.
So he would tell me, "Mom, when I ask you," and I had posted, I did actually a post.
I did see that post, and it was a picture of him sitting back, right? Mm-hmm. Where he's laying back. I sent you the picture.
Yeah, I remember.
This is depression. This is anxiety. Mm-hmm. And he just wanted you to just tell him that everything would be okay and to hug him. Mm-hmm. And I was like, damn, that's just...
we don't have to understand it. We just have to be there, listen. We be there and support.
Right.
And make them feel seen and heard. And I think that's any human being who is suffering from depression. They don't expect you to have the answers. He was a big advocate for therapy, actually. He always talked about therapy. But the Saturday before he passed away, we went for a walk. Mike and I had picked him up to go to my mom's house because it was my oldest son's birthday. And we went for a walk and he's like, "Oh, I took myself to therapy." And I said, "You did?"
So there was some effort.
There was still some effort.
He still wanted to go and do it.
He says they don't know how to fix me. But the thing that they've taught me is how to communicate my feelings.
Yeah.
That is the one thing that he took away from therapy was he could talk to you about how he was feeling. He was a great communicator, and he was very vocal about his struggles. He talked about it to his friends, to his girlfriends, to their families, to their parents, to his teachers. He was a huge advocate for talking.
Just getting it out there.
Getting it out, talking. He shared it on his social media. He would talk about it to everybody who knew him knew he was struggling.
Are you still in contact with the girlfriend?
I am actually. she's doing better.
Oh,
she
that's good.
has I see she's been going to church with me.
Oh, cool. So you guys still have a bond.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I love her very much.
Nice.
I don't blame her in any way. And I know that's probably a hard thing for people to understand.
Yeah.
That's one thing that you and I talked about personally is like, you know, I admire her.
Right.
Because there's so many people that hold on to resentments,
people
grudges, for whatever reason it may be, and they want to blame and they want to blame her or him for whatever they're going through.
For sure.
But for somebody like her to have lost her son and her husband and still hold no remorse, no grudges, no resentments towards anyone, including the girlfriend.
Because you could have easily done something like that and just been like, you know what, no, I don't know about this.
And that's
girl.
why I
like,
said, I'm like, easily, this could have broken
for sure.
anyone.
Absolutely.
This could have broken anyone outside of her.
I never saw it that way. It was never in me to hold any anger or hatred or resentment. And I think it was because I knew Keegan loved her very much. I knew they were both struggling. It was a common denominator that, you know, two very hurt little kids gravitated towards each other. Us as adults understand it wasn't for the best for them.
Right.
And but try telling that to a 17, 18-year-old kid.
Yeah, teenagers are tough, man.
It's hard, right?
It's just different.
So in order for me to fight it, I enveloped them. I loved them. I would talk to them. All of the three of us would go on movie nights, date nights. We would go eat. We would do all these things together. So when that happened, and Keegan passed away, I never once held any resentment or anger towards her at all, ever. It just didn't even cross my mind. And because what good is that going to do me?
Nothing.
It's not.
It doesn't solve the problem. It doesn't solve.
And that's a big message to everybody out there that
for sure
hold any grudges and resentments towards anything or anyone. Let it fucking go, because it's not going to do you any good.
You know, that's one of the hardest things that people have in life, just letting shit go, dude. Straight up.
I hold no grudges or resentments.
I feel that.
And the reason why I'm saying that now, remember, I'm not everything happens for a reason, right?
Right.
She and I now are going to church on Sundays. I sit with her afterwards. We sit and we talk. And I actually asked her if it was okay if I brought this up, because I always told her, you have a very powerful story.
Absolutely.
Yeah. She's in her healing process right now. She's in the healing process, right? So we talk and she cries. And
I feel like you're going to stay in that healing process for quite some time. It's not. It doesn't go away. Like, you know, I think some people are like, oh, I'll just shrug it off.
It's very traumatic.
It's not one of those things you just shrug off. I feel like that process is just going to be. It's going to be a long time.
She'll carry it on for the rest of her life.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And, you know, Mike was a big person on that too. And he said that we should not hold any anger or resentment towards this little girl. She's a little girl who's struggling. So he was the biggest advocate for that too. He's like, I don't want to hear anything bad about her. She's struggling just as much. It could have easily been the other way around.
Oh, for sure.
It could have easily been the other way around, you know? And it happened this way because now here I am helping her in her journey. And she doesn't even realize how much she's helping me heal in the same time. And the reason why I brought that up as well is because when Mike was dying, when he was put on hospice and he was dying, if you guys listen to his stories and watch his videos, Mike was a huge believer in karma. He truly believed that what happened to him, he deserved it.
I do remember he said that,
remember?
A lot. And especially during like his younger years with his friends from the neighborhood. And we had that conversation, right?
And everything and all the wrong he did and the
people.
and the people he hurt and with women he hurt. He was not a very good person. He was the first one to say I was not a good person.
I mean, he told us that like kind of out the gate and we were like, wow, I kind of didn't expect it. I was like, wait, what? Like, I mean,
he told me too, I was not a good person. And when he was dying, the Wednesday, he passed away on April 5th, which was a Saturday. The Wednesday before he passed away, you know, he's on hospice and he was kind of in and out and he was on heavily medicated. And he told me, he called me over to his bedside, and I ran over there and I said, "What's wrong?" He's like, "Why is this taking so long?"
Damn. Wow.
And I sat down and I said, "God, please, if this is my moment, please don't let him shut me down." Because again, if you guys have watched videos, you guys have talked to him, Mike would curse God. He didn't believe in a God. Yeah. And then he said, if there is a God, then he deserves me. I deserve an apology from him. Yeah. He would say a lot of things like that.
One of the biggest things when we did the interview with Mike, his mom reached out to us and she said, I don't know why Mike is like that about God. Because she watched that interview and she said, because that's not the way he was like brought up. But I just think like in time, people just kind of just are like, you know what? I don't know how true it is, and I'm going to believe what I want to believe. And that's perfectly fine, because there is doubt because of all the stuff that goes around. Like, I'm sure even with your unfortunate case with your son's suicide, he was probably like, okay, then why did God allow that? To that depression? Why did God say, oh, it's okay that he has depression, that he's going to jump off a bridge and then take his life? Where was God intervening on that? And I totally get that, but because I grew up Catholic. My family's very religious. I went to Catholic school, the whole bit. My mom always like, God bless you, mijo. And my grandma till the day she died, she was like, I said a prayer for you. I'm like, I appreciate it, grandma. But when your mother-in-law reached out, she's all, I don't know why he has that resentment. Almost like, I don't want to deal with it. Like, I don't want to deal with like the whole God thing. You know what I mean? And he was like, but he did say the karma thing is bigger to me, because it's like what you do to people later on, and how you repent towards people is different than repenting towards God.
But that is also a perfect example of people not understanding. I'm not understanding someone's journey in this life.
Right.
Her story was her story. My story is my story. Your guys' stories is your story. It's your journey. You're going to view life the way you see it, right?
Absolutely.
Who are we to say, pass any sort of judgments? Who are we to sit here and say, I don't understand it? Of course you're not going to understand it, because what happened to him didn't happen to you. It didn't happen to me. It didn't happen to her.
Right.
It was his trauma.
Everybody's story is different.
Everyone's story, and how they interpret it and how they accept it, right? It's not going to be the way I do it, the way you do it, the way she did it. So that is the one thing that I have learned in the passing of my son, in the passing of Mike, is I don't have to understand people's struggles. I don't have to understand their pain. But who am I to say, I don't understand it? I don't understand why they would even think. I have never once said that about my son, because it wasn't me that was battling those demons in his head.
I'll be the first one to say that I kind of was that person that, why is that person so depressed? Why is that person having an anxiety? Like, for me, I always took life as like, you just got to deal with it. Keep going. Like, push yourself, because that's the way you were taught.
For sure.
Especially in my generation. Like, you were taught to just suck it up, keep going.
Yeah.
And that was my mentality. But it wasn't until 2023 where I literally, again, here I go sharing my fucking story. But I took myself to the mountains with my gun and was gonna blow him. I was ready to blow my brains out playing Jelly Roll.
Yeah.
Well,
that's how I understood. Now, like, I'm like, okay, now I understand where these people are like coming from. I now dealt with it. I now with that depression and feeling like lonely and feeling like you were worthless. So
depression is a liar. It makes you see life very dark and lonely. It's it robs you of any sort of happiness, any sort of joy.
Right.
So for us who don't suffer from depression, we see life, we get sad. There's sad moments. Last night I was crying in my bed by myself, staring at the ceiling.
Of course.
But I still have peace. I'm not trying to be happy. I have peace. And that peace has been with me since my son passed away. A lot of people might not understand that, But it happened to me again when Mike passed away. And I really, truly believe it is because of my faith in God and the prayers that have been given to me. I feel them every single day, which is why it goes back to the very beginning on how am I doing this?
Yeah.
It's carrying me. Their memories give me joy on those sad days, but the prayers and my faith in God is what's keeping me going and keeping me strong. For us who don't suffer from depression or anxieties or anything like that, we have sad moments. But people who suffer from depression and anxieties, it's the other way around. Their normal is this sad, this overwhelming feeling of doom, of life is not going to get any better than this. And then they have happy moments.
And for some, they have voices that are telling like, you're worthless.
Yeah.
You're a piece of shit. And they deal with that, literally.
Mike, when I first met Mike, Mike told me that he would wake up in the mornings and he would look at himself in the mirror and he would tell himself all of those things. He would tear himself down. And then as the day goes on, he would build himself back up.
You know what? I'm so glad you brought that up. That's something I never wanted to bring up because I was doing that. I would look at myself and be like, you're fucking stupid. You're a piece of shit.
Yeah.
You're not doing anything good for your kids. You're a piece of shit husband. You're not doing. But then as the day goes on, you try to like build yourself up. So I get exactly what you're saying with Big Mike.
Yeah.
I never wanted to bring that up because I just felt like not something I would.
You'd be surprised how many people, especially in our culture, our people don't talk about stuff like this. Just like you said, we were raised, men don't talk about their weaknesses.
We talked about that. I remember that.
Men don't talk about their what bothers them because it's a sign of weakness,
For
right?
sure.
I think right now, with everything that is happening, what is going on, COVID heightened the.
I think it brought awareness. It brought way more awareness
for people to talk about it more often.
Yes, of course.
Because a lot of people were feeling it. So
they were going through it.
Yes.
I mean, during COVID, I shared my story where I was in a full-on alcoholic, and I had a full intervention, and I had to realize, shit, I'm about to lose being able to be with my kids because my greediness and my selfishness. But it got to a point where, again, it was just feeling that I didn't know I was going through depression, because I don't know what depression was like. It was just more of like, I just got to keep pushing. I'm just going to keep drinking. This is me. Push through. Don't be a bitch. So I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, because it's a different mindset. I'll tell you what, my wife, she suffers from it. And, occasionally she'll kind of fall into that, back into that, and then she'll figure out herself, at some point. And I try to be there and talk with her and be like, no, and she also has the battle with God. Like we have this constant thing back and forth because she knows like, oh, church boy over here. Like I'm calm down. I'm like, I'm not church boy. I don't do it as much as I used to. But my mom goes to church every Sunday still. My family's still very Catholic. I grew up that way. Went to the Catholic Church in La Puente at St. Louis, France. That was my background. And I still believe in God. And I mean, I have questions. Absolutely. And I think everybody should have questions because you can't believe everything that you read. You have to have something about it, right? But like you guys were saying, I don't understand what she's going through on the depression part because I've never felt that way. I've always got up and told myself, I mean, I got to deal with this. So make it work. What I mean? Because maybe in my mindset, I was always telling myself like, all I have to do is make it work because I don't have anything else but this. You know what I mean? Like, and I always think I always forget that some people don't always think that way. Like, and I think they're like, oh, I forgot that.
And I think as men, we're we're taught to be like, whatever it is you're going through, you got to push through it.
Suck it up, like you were saying.
Your family needs you. Suck it the fuck up.
My dad used to tell all the time. My dad, ex-Marine, hardcore ass dude. I've never seen that man cry my entire life until one time we're going over the hill and we're on our way to the hospital, and this is during his cancer time, and he's like, why the fuck does it hurt so bad? And I'm like, I was like looking, I'm like, this is like the first time I've ever seen you cry in my whole life. But I know he was having a moment, but I'm like in shock mode, and I'm like, holy shit. Like, he's like, going through all this pain, but he's crying. I've never seen this. And like, I shut down. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to do because I've never seen that emotion from that man. You know what I mean? Like, and you guys going back to talking about like the men don't talk about that. My dad was the same way. I was like, suck it the fuck up, boy. What the hell? You better need to have a pair of balls around here.
Especially if military.
Totally. Yeah. Like, and my grandfathers were like that. My uncle was like, they're still like that. My uncle is still like that till this day. But that's just the way some men are. You're right. Some people just don't open up that way. It's just different.
Now what we need to do, especially you guys as, men, you guys need to, I think the most impactful thing that you can do as a man is go up to your wife, your child, your friend, and say, hey, I'm here.
Right.
I
just
care
a conversation.
About you. Just what's going on.
What's
going on in here? I'm your brother. I'm your husband. I'm your dad. I may not understand, but I'm here to listen. Yeah, and I think
deep.
that's
deep.
That's the biggest thing that as men in our culture can do is for our wives, for our children, for our male friends, is to do that and say, hey, I know it's not a macho thing to do, but you know what? Screw that. I care about you. I love you.
Right.
I'm your dad. I'm your husband. I'm your friend. I'm your brother. What can I do to help you?
That's a very fucking great
Love
point. Because I've always, even through the shit that I went through where I wanted to blow my brains out, I went back down thinking like, I just got to push like a man, suck it the fuck up. And I still have trouble being able to open up that, like how you're saying, where it's like, hey, I'm here for you. I'm your dad.
Yeah.
Come. Same thing like with my wife. Like, I'm here for you. Like, here's my arms.
Right.
I don't know what you're going through because my wife does go through depression at times.
Yeah.
And I just dealt with like, I don't know what it is you're going through. Like, how do I help you? I'm more of just like, if I was able to get back that mountain, you can get through this depression.
Yeah, but yours is different. Like everybody's different, like you were saying, right?
Like
yours is different than hers.
But again, it's a selfish mentality of mine.
Of course it is. It's all we all do it though. We all do it.
So
not consciously.
I love what you just said right there. It's a great perspective of how you just said it, and it hit me. It really fucking hit me. During that time that Big Mike was going through, he was now in hospice.
Right.
Can you tell us a little bit of what you were going through, seeing your husband in hospice? And I know that at some point during this time, before he left us, he decided that he wanted to do something that really touched your heart. And I know that you shared it. Can you tell us a little bit about that? I don't want to mention it because I want you to actually.
Yeah. When Mike was on hospice, I had been praying, the whole time he was sick, I had been praying for a miracle of some kind, for a miracle of healing, that he was going to beat cancer was going to get out of his body, this and that, It was 2 years and 4 months of fighting on stage 4 esophageal cancer, radiation, chemotherapy, immunotherapy. And when they told us that he was going to be put on hospice, I remember the phone call, got off the phone with the doctor. He looked at me, I looked at him, and I went to the bathroom and I just screamed into a towel. I remember just doing that.
For sure.
And I said, okay. I put the towel down and I wiped my tears and I walked out to him, and he was laying on the bed, and I gave him a kiss and I told him that I loved him, that I was going to be with him until however long time we had. And he said, okay. And everything kind of just moved fast from there. Nurses came, doctors came, the hospice bed came, it was just 3 days of that. And then he was put on hospice March 12th. He passed away April 5th. And the Wednesday before he passed away, he called me over to his bed. And he said, why is this taking so long? He was tired. He was done. He was so thin. By that point, we weren't even doing the feeding tubes anymore. It was just dilauded morphine drip, morphine pushes, just constant. And so I sat down on the bed and I told him, "What's wrong, baby?" And he's like, "Why is this taking so long?" And I said, "God, if this is my moment, if this is my time, please don't let him shut me down." And I said, what if your anger, your hatred, your pain is grounding you here? What if it's holding you hostage here? It's not letting you go. I said, why don't you ask God? And I remember just hoping God, he wouldn't shut me down.
He almost jumped out of his bed.
Because he'd done it before, with other people. He would
sprung him out of his house.
Wait,
like,
what?
hold on.
What are you talking about?
And I said, how do you know that it's not holding you here? And what if that's what's keeping you here? You're ready to go.
Yeah.
And he looked at me and I said, why don't you ask God for forgiveness? Why don't you ask him to forgive you? Tell him you're sorry. And you could just say it in your head. I even gave him that grace. I said, God knows your heart.
Yeah.
And he looked at me and with tears in his eyes, he said it out loud and said, God, forgive me. And I started crying. We both started crying. And I told him, you've been forgiven. And I said, you're going to be in heaven soon. You're going to be with Keegan. I said, hold him for me. He said, hold him for me and wait for me. And I'll be there. It's okay. You can leave now. You can go. I'm going to be all right. Don't worry about me.
I think a lot of times...
That's one of the hardest things to say to somebody.
It's true. Because I think a lot of times people want that exit. That leave. I'm okay.
They want that okay.
Yeah.
I'll be okay.
To be valid and be like, yeah, you sure? Because it may have been God. It may have been something that he was grounded to. But it... For sure.
Divine intervention.
Sure. But for sure, it was something to do with you. Without a doubt. Because you're his wife. So to have closure like that, I think, because I remember in my own personal experience with my dad, I was like, it's okay. We'll be fine. Go.
I think,
and it happens.
But I think, in the case of Big Mike, leaving his wife behind.
That's what I mean. Like he didn't
the person that he cared for.
Of course.
For so many years and built the type of relations that they have.
Of course. And so
for him, it was
holding
like,
on to it.
Yeah, I think for him, it was like, I still need to be here. That's just my thought process.
No, I feel like that's why he was asking why it took so long. I think it took so long because his heart was so big for you guys, for all of you guys. And like, I don't want to leave. I need to be here.
Yeah.
So it's the will to live doesn't, just cancer kills out the rest of the body, but the will to live doesn't kill the heart or the mind.
The nurse came the next day. We said we said our love yous and our goodbyes. I called the 2 years and 4 months that he fought. I called it our long goodbye. We got to say everything we wanted to say, what his wishes were for me for afterwards. What he wanted, what he didn't want. It was a long goodbye. I'm very grateful and blessed that I had been able to experience that with him. It was I didn't see it as a duty. I saw it as a blessing.
Yeah.
And I was blessed to see him and be part of him till his last breath. And he gave me a gift. And I talked to you about this before. The gift of the moment, the gift of the now, being present. When my son passed away, I think deep down inside I knew he wasn't going to live very long because he talked about I wasn't going to live past 18. He always used to say that.
Damn.
He would always say, Mom. He knew. I'm not going to live past 18, Mom. Would always tell me that. So I memorized the way he would hold his hands, the way he would sit in the car next to me when we would play music, the way he would move. And the way I would pull my hand over and hold his hand. I still do that to this day. When I'm in the car and I'll say his name, I'll put my hand over where his leg would be.
Because you feel his presence there?
I feel him.
Yeah.
And I do the same for Mike. You know, when Mike was passing away, I touched his skin. I would hold his hand. I memorized his profile. And it was the most precious thing that I could give myself, is memorizing all these little things that we take for granted as human beings. And when I say I don't have anger towards this little girl, how can I have anger when I'm so grateful for everything? I'm so present in the moment, in the now, from the way everything looks around me, from the way the sky looks, to the sound of the birds, to the green of the trees, to how people laugh, how they move. Sometimes I'll sit in my house and I'll just, in my sadness, I'll stare outside the window and I'll see somebody walking their dog, or a man with his little girl or a little boy, the way they push, the way they sound. When you've been through trauma and death so close the way that I have, you don't have room for anger or resentment or what ifs. I've never once questioned why this happened to me. Never once did I question it. And I will never do that because I don't have room or space for it. I have room and space for now.
That's part of the power of you being strong, your strength. How you were dealing with.
Well, it's like what she said, like the other day when we were talking, that now when she sees the trees, when she hears the birds, everything is now not. What was it that you mentioned?
It doesn't. Nothing else matters other than this moment here.
Living in the now, like you were saying.
It's living in the now, living in the moment, appreciating all of that. To me, anger and resentment and hatred, and holding on to these feelings that do nothing for you as a human being. There's no room for it anymore.
I'm so glad you're bringing that up.
There is no room for it.
I agree.
The only person it hurts is you.
Yourself.
In the long run.
Yourself in the long run.
Absolutely.
Look at what it did to Mike. That is one thing I noticed.
For sure.
It holding on to those angers, to those issues, look at what it did to him. So I have no room for it. I still have my oldest son, and I appreciate that he's still here with me.
Which, by the way, he's here in studio.
He's here.
Yeah, he is.
He's right here in studio.
He's
just been quiet the whole time.
he's
him and his wife, future wife, right?
Future?
my
wife?
future child-in-law. I call her.
He's
my
like,
future
well,
child-in-law.
your future wife. So there you go.
So when Mike was placed on hospice, one of the first things he did was, he asked Will to come and move in with us so that I wouldn't be alone. And, it was just, it's a blessing having my firstborn back home with me. It's sad under the conditions that it brought us back, but it's helped both of us tremendously. Yeah. And so as far as holding on to these angers or these issues or the what ifs, being angry at a little girl that had nothing to do with Keegan's decision. That was Keegan's decision.
Because it wasn't her that was trying to hey, we should go do that. None of that.
No, I don't have room for it. To me, it's white noise. It's negative. It's outside. It's the enemy, right?
Exactly.
And I don't have room for that. I don't. So my way of keeping Mike's legacy going is by talking about his journey, his forgiveness, his keeping his legacy going, how I can do good for my son is by helping his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Healing her. She's healing me.
What you're doing now.
And what I'm doing now. Yeah. It is I can't even describe the peace that has come over me. The sharing it. And like I said before when we first started this, I would never have been able to do this if it wasn't for Mike. They both.
You guys have a lot of videos together on YouTube.
We have a lot of videos together.
A lot.
Their voices may have ended when they passed away, but their voice lives on through me. And that is my purpose. My purpose now is to share and open up conversations, uncomfortable conversations, and bring them to the table to create a conversation for you to be able to go home and talk to your wife, for you to be able to go home and talk to your children.
For sure. For
people to message me and say, hey, I am so glad to hear that you're talking about this. I actually showed my 16-year-old son your videos, your page. And I've had teenagers reach out to me and say, I've thought about suicide myself, but I cannot imagine putting my family through the pain that I see that you're going through what is going on through you. So whenever I have self-doubt, whenever I feel like this is too much, maybe I shouldn't be doing this, then there's a message that comes through that says no.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to ask you. I know that now with Keegan's passing and what you've experienced with his passing and his suicide, I should say people have been reaching out to you, as you mentioned, and she's been making that impact now. I think that's why, and as you said, God had a purpose for her.
Yeah.
Whether you want to believe it or not, like, I believe it because I am a big believer of God.
I know.
And even though I'm not in church as often as I should be, she is. And I think that God has called her to be able to reach out to these people, or for these people to reach out to her, to connect these people to her so that she can guide them to a point where it's like, okay, things will be okay.
Yeah.
Things are going to be okay. I'm going to be all right. My purpose and journey in this life is so evident now. It's so obvious. Nothing is a coincidence, from Keegan passing and her living, from Mike lasting as long as he did with stage 4 cancer. At the very end, I remember his dad. I called his dad when he had asked God to forgive him. His dad looked at me and on the phone, and he was like, it was you. It was always supposed to be you. It wasn't supposed to be anybody else other than you. That he was able to say, I'm sorry. From us meeting to everything just lined up perfectly. Yeah. It was like, I think I told you, it was like my aha moment.
Yeah.
It was like, I looked at it and I said, oh my God, I hear it. I see you. I understand now. So now I don't plan. I just do. And I ask God to open up those doors for me. And I say yes more than I say no.
Right.
People want to hear the story. Yes, I'll share the story.
I noticed that on I saw a post that you did on your YouTube channel at I know you're still running it, Chicano Style Bikers on YouTube, and you gave an update. You did like a 20-minute video, and I watched it. Right, that was a few days ago, and that that's strong. That's the strength and the healing part that you're already doing, and. Because most people would, we've talked about this before, they'll shut it down and be like, I ain't doing that. Like, that's crazy, right? And you're going to have your vulnerable moments, and you're going to show that.
Which I do.
Yeah, of course. I mean, be emotional about it. There's no way there's no book or there's no manual to tell you, this is how you're supposed to be after someone passes. I don't care how close it is. There's nothing out there that says that. You just, however it comes is however you take it at that time. And however you heal is your healing. It's your journey, right? Just as it was as everybody else's, your sons and Mike, right? And then I saw that video, and I talked a little bit about him to Rojo. I'm like, man, did you see that video? He's like, yeah. We both follow the channel. We both watched what's going on. And we know you went on another podcast, and we were like, okay, we got to definitely talk to her about it. Mike did talk to us about having you on. But
I was like, they beat us.
Yeah, it's all right though. We definitely wanted to have you on because we had a big liking of him. I was like, man, that was really cool. Like, the way he was just so bold and honest about it. I was like, that's what's up. Like, that's how it goes down. But
no fucks given.
No, yeah, fuck that, right? No fucks given. Exactly. But then when you post something like that, was like, all right, well, that's different because I didn't see that. Like, I didn't see. I guess it was the curveball that I didn't expect, right? Because some people, you could have easily said, you know what, I'm gonna scrub this whole thing and I'm gonna shut it down because that's it, it's done. Because of how sad you were or whatever it was, and it could have been like, but you didn't. You're like, you know what, he wanted to build this up. I'm gonna talk about how I'm doing now, because you have to deal with that part, the grief,
because
is what people don't really want to talk about.
After.
Right.
We want to hear the after.
That's exactly. people want to hear the after, like what happened after. As much as
what's going on now. How are you dealing
right?
with
Like
it?
I mean, but I
It's
mean for real.
yeah.
I'm just saying for real, right? Though, like,
but at the same time, it's like when you hear her story,
right?
You're like, damn. If she can get through that, whatever I'm going through, it's fucking, it's minor.
Yeah.
And that's one thing. And I don't mean to use you as an example, but again, I go back to like when I tell my wife, I'm like, you're getting upset over these minor little things just because you see somebody going on vacation or whatever, and you're over here thinking like, oh, we're never, dude. I'm like, that's minor. That'll get fixed. One thing that will never get fixed is losing someone that you love and you care about. And again, I don't mean to use you an example, but I tell him like, look at Lysette, like she lost her son and her husband within less than a year.
Exactly.
And yet she's still pushing. She's still thriving. She's still
so good
holding on strong.
And props to you for like putting something out there like that, which was like, we're recording this, but it was like 4 days ago that you did it. And, you know, and like you were saying, I'm sure people are going to reach out and be like, wow, like I love your story. But
that's why I say you are the epitome of someone who can say, I can get through this. You can too.
Because people also love a good comeback story.
Right.
Oh yeah.
People love a good hero comeback story. I love a good hero comeback story. You do.
And I've told you, we admire you.
You guys do too.
We admire her. Like we admire her to the fullest extent.
I like a good we got good comeback stories. Like and when you know we heard Mike's story, now we hear your story, and we're like, okay, we got it. I mean, we got to talk to him, right? Like, I mean, this is pretty because we talk to people about their journeys, about what you go through, and we know about the brand, you know, Chicano Style Bikers. We know about what the shirts do. We know that you guys help organizations and you guys help people out there too with
fundraisers,
with the fundraisers and the apparel and stuff like that. So that's how it all started.
That's
how it all started. So we were like, wow, that's cool. Like, you know,
but everyone has a backstory.
Right. So what's the backstory? Because now we're like, what we want to know about that. But like, I mean, it sounds, you know, different because most people, podcasts or influencers, we talk about all the time. Like they're like, we just want to talk about all the other crap. It's like, no, we kind of want to talk about what are you doing over there? Because we love to see how people bounce back from something so tragic, man.
One thing that I was told a few times actually, and I was mentioning this to you, is that when we go hang out at Talk About Good, shout out to Javier, there's people there that have been checking out our podcast, and they checked out Big Mike's, and some of the people were like, yeah, we know about him.
Yeah.
And they were like, dude, that was pretty fucking badass that you actually sat down and had a conversation with him. He relates to us. As well as Javier's story related to them.
We're blown away by the comments.
Because of the struggle. And, you know, the fact that they were able to let off emotion. I know Big Mike didn't cry, but like Javier, he did let off emotion. For people like that, it's like, they can relate to it. Yeah. There's realness to it.
I'm gonna
just like you.
I saw your all those the other interviews and stuff, and I think what it takes a lot of courage, it takes a lot of courage to come forward and show emotion. It takes strength to say, hey, I'm not feeling good. I'm not, you know, it doesn't make you weak. It takes a lot of strength and courage to come forward and say, I'm not doing good. I'm feeling like this.
Yeah.
And then you have doubts, and then you have like
one thing I still struggle. One thing I still struggle with, and him and I have talked about this, and I think it was with Luis too, from A Toast to Life, is that
Toast to Life,
I don't know how to cry. I still don't know how to show that emotion. He's more of like,
I'm an emotional wreck sometimes. Like
I'm gonna show my emotions.
I'll start crying. I don't care.
And he said it in that last the past interview with Luis. Is like, I show my emotions.
I just don't get that part.
Yeah, he doesn't get it. Like, why can't you just show your emotions?
My dad used to tell me, like, you got a lot of your mother in you. I'm like, oh my God. Why? Because I'm crying and showing emotion? That's ridiculous.
And I don't know. Like, I don't know how to cry. And you almost had me. I got teary.
To see this guy uncomfortable and squirm is like, yeah, that's right. You better take it right there, baby.
No, you know, I just.
I know.
But yeah, but
it almost happened. But I mean, because your story is it's so impactful. You know, like there's just. It's unfortunate a lot of the situation that happened behind it, but it's just like, man, perspective, right? Perspective.
For me, I take it. With everything that you've gone through, I take it as like my life. You know, I'm not trying to like measure it up or in any way, but whatever I'm going through, I can only imagine what she's going through. my shit is minor. You get what I'm saying? Like, so I use you as a positive influence whenever it's like, fuck, like I can't do this with my, the fuck, like, get the fuck over it.
I get messages like that too, saying, here I am complaining about I couldn't get this done or I couldn't get that done. And then I see your post and it's like, God, I need to be a little bit more grateful with my life.
Exactly.
It's the truth.
Exactly.
It's the truth.
I just, for me, talking about it is keeping Keegan's voice going and keeping Mike's voice going. That is my purpose now. My purpose is to share the stories, to share their struggles, to share Mike's asking for forgiveness, being saved, finally letting go of that weight that he carried for so many years, and saying it's okay. It's okay to be vulnerable as a man, as a boy, to say I'm okay. I'm okay to show these types of emotions. It's okay to talk about not being okay in the head. It's okay. It doesn't make me weak. It makes me real. It makes me human. It makes me, I need help. We need to normalize that. Us in our culture, in our people who've been taught not to do that.
You're right.
We need to say no. We need to reel it back.
It's okay sometimes.
It's okay sometimes. It's okay.
Yep.
And I want to thank you guys for inviting me and sharing that story.
Thank you. I mean, this is like, for us, it's always enlightening to, like, you know, to do this, because we've been talking about doing this for a long time. Of course, after we heard Mike pass, you know, we talked about it and we're like, okay, we got to have her on. And, you know, we kind of went through our little hurdles on our own. Like, we kind of had some changes on our part, but once we settled in, we're like, we got to get her in here so we could discuss it a little bit. And then we thought maybe give it a little bit of time, you know, because it's so fresh, it's so brand new, you know what I mean? Like, you don't want to be like, hey, you want to come on real quick? Like, and it's like, wait, dude, I just lost my husband. Like, calm down. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but, you know, and I'm glad that you were able to, you know, to come through and hang out here, you know, with us and just share your story with us, you know, because it's pretty intense. And I'm 100% sure somebody's going to reach out, or a lot of people reach out and be like, hey, thank you for sharing your story, because I'm telling you, somebody might be going through, like your son here was saying, like, I don't know, should we talk about it? I'm like, you'll be surprised, like, how many people will reach out to you and be like, I was just thinking about a story that I'm going through, not yours specifically, but yours came up, and I was like, oh man, that kind of helped me out a little bit, like just a little boost.
And I think hopefully one day, you know, somebody will get the story of, you know, Keegan's girlfriend. Because I think that's going to help a lot of other young females.
I had asked, when I have talked publicly about Keegan's story, I omitted her out of it because it wasn't my story to tell.
For sure.
But because her and I have been meeting on Sundays, we've been going to church together, we go out to eat afterwards, we sit and we talk and we cry together. And, you know, I asked permission to finally share her story here today. And she said, absolutely. She's like, I'm on a healing journey. And she says that she wants her story through me to help other kids, other people talk about it.
That's awesome.
So that's why I was able to say it.
I like it. I mean, that's what it's about, though. Like,
we're blessed
finding
to have
that strength, you know, to move and carry on and talk about it.
So, you know, before we kind of end this, I kind of want to know, like, what is the journey now as far as being able, I know that you've been trying to, like, get this whole like suicide prevention. So what's the goal now?
The goal now is to, if more people invite me on to do interviews, I would gladly share the story, keep it going. I would love to do go to schools and talk to students or in small youth groups, be able to share that story, finding that, doing a suicide run in the motorcycle community.
That would be dope.
Do something like that, a suicide cancer run, doing something like that to bring some sort of awareness. To talk about mental health in our community, and kind of bring forward the people that we lost to suicide. men, women, children. And those are the little goals that I have for myself. Right. But, you know, everything's baby steps. So right now,
of course,
it's this. Yep. This is what I'm doing. You know, people have told me, oh, you should write a book. I would never even know
where do you start?
Where you
never know.
I mean, somebody else would write it for you.
There may be somebody.
You just tell them the
if
story.
there's a publishing company out there, she wants to write a book, so come on through. You know what I mean?
Know, and I didn't even think I'm like not even that interesting of a person. But
what do you mean?
You don't know. I mean, they'll take care of that part, right? They'll take care of that part.
You have over 17,000 followers. What do you mean your story's not interesting?
So
exactly.
I just feel like it's not really my story. It's
their
Mike's
story through you, though.
Right, but now, like you said, you're living their story out.
If I was a very shy person before, Mike was my friend. Let me tell you, when Mike passed away, I never felt more vulnerable and exposed in my life ever. The minute he left, and now it's like I have to learn my life and who am I without him in my life physically. But
gotta get to know yourself.
His spirit is with me all the time.
I'm sure.
Keegan's spirit is with me all the time.
For sure.
The voice that I have, I could never do it without them. Mm-hmm. So they're the ones who give me strength and courage to come on platforms like this and share the story. Talk about me. Talk about what I'm going through. Because, man, I'm going through it too.
Of course.
I'm going through it too. Yep. But I don't go down that rabbit hole of feeling sorry for myself. That's Mike talking right now.
There you go.
That's him talking right now.
Do
not feel sorry for myself. I'm not going to be a victim of the circumstances. I'm not going to be a victim of all of this grief. I'm going to grieve, but not become a slave to it. I'm not going to do any of that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it into something positive, and that's where I'm at right now.
I do like the start of maybe going to kids and stuff like that, because we talked with Kat, and maybe you can show up with Kat. She's she wants to do stuff for kids of fallen bikers.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, maybe there's some sort of connection there that you guys can carry on, something like that. And she's looking for people like you were talking about grieving counselors and things like that. I mean, it sounds a lot, maybe something
she's
that
all
can
about
happen
mental health
there.
as well.
And the mental health part. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because it really is super important to get that type of stuff out. Maybe there's something there for that.
Yeah, we'll see. I'll find it.
Well, Lysette, we really appreciate your story, and go check out Chicano Style Bikers. We've already done an interview with Mike, her husband. That was awesome, and thank you to everybody who checked it out. They're available on YouTube, and if you if you're on there, click the link and go buy a shirt, because you're still putting out all the apparel right now at this point. Yeah,
I'm still doing it. Right now it's just Mike had a lot of designs, and he kind of took some steps back from the merchandise stuff, but a lot of people keep asking me. They still want to rep him in some way.
Well, we need one right here.
Yeah. So maybe what you can do with that though is, here's an idea. If you buy a shirt, maybe half of the proceeds will go to your new journey into
suicide
talking
prevention,
to kids
that sort of
about
thing.
suicide prevention.
There is a shirt that I am going to be coming out with that has to do maybe with the logo and something that has to do with mental health on it in Keegan's memory. Okay. And I'm thinking about donating some of those half of the proceeds to some sort of suicide program, organization of some kind. So there's a lot of things that are in the works. I just wasn't in the mental space for it, but I feel like now I'm a little bit better. Just a little bit better.
Only a little bit.
Just a little bit.
That's right.
But it's all baby steps, and I'm excited to see where this takes me, because wherever it takes me, I'm still talking about them. And I'm keeping their memories alive, and that's what's keeping me going.
I think that's the best thing you could do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you got a great support system right there.
Yeah, right there, right behind us.
They're my biggest cheerleaders.
And your future daughter-in-law.
And your future daughter-in-law right here, right?
Yeah. Even from meeting her, she came in about a week. She came into our family.
You can introduce yourself.
Yeah, come on, say hi. You're right there.
I call her, she's our little ray of sunshine.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's not a bad little name.
By the way, the next time you guys are working out outside, can you invite us? I've seen you guys. I mean, I have a whole gym in my garage too. So,
yeah.
I mean, yeah. I got the heavy bag. I got the focus mitts.
The ropes.
I got the ropes.
The battle ropes. Yeah.
Battle ropes. I got the tire. I got
some pads.
I'm down.
Box, but
Oh no! Oh, dude, this dude, he's a pretty good trainer.
We can work on that.
I've trained with him a few times. Yeah, he's a good trainer.
I get home.
That's real.
I get home a little after 5.
He's got the pads, bro. He'll teach you how to rap.
I was trying to teach him.
No, yeah, for sure. I've trained with him a few times. He's pretty good. Yeah,
my wife
there
could use some workout routine. So,
but thank you guys.
Thank you. This is really cool.
You're the blessing here.
Thank you.
For sure. And if you get a chance, guys, please head on over to Chicano Style Bikers. Click the link through and reach out with Lysette. Lysette, give us your Instagram before we go anywhere because we want to make sure that people reach out with you as well.
It's _tap. So it's LASS_TAPS.
And there is a bunch of links on Chicano Style Bikers on Instagram for YouTube and the store, and also a GoFundMe page that is still available on there for Big Mike. And if you guys have it in you still, head on over there, click the link, and drop. I don't care if it's $5, $10, whatever it is, because anything always helps. And she may be able to put those services to something where she could do about the suicide stuff and something to do with cancer. I do like that idea. Maybe something you should pursue.
Yeah, I will.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lysette, for
and
sharing
I do.
And you got a quote for us, man?
I do have a quote that does entail with this.
I think I'm going to follow up with one of you with YouTube, but it's not going to be probably. Go ahead. Sorry.
It says, "To live in hearts we leave behind is not to die."
All right. Maybe that's what. Oh, that makes sense. I like that. The only one I got is the fear of death follows from the fear of life.
Okay. Yeah.
So there it is. We always do a special quote. People look at us like, man, these guys are weird. They do motivational quotes.
You should have told me. I would have brought my own quote.
I mean,
we could have
she's over here. Let me go.
Wait a minute.
We could have did the whole room, but we were like, because people look at us like a little weird right away, and they're like, wait.
Eventually, we're waiting for that moment where somebody will comment, what do you guys drop the quotes?
Yeah.
I think the quotes are great.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, we're gonna keep them, man.
I wanted to do this one because it relates to this.
Yeah.
Because Johnny Murillo, Chicano Hollywood, we took his quote.
Shout out Johnny Murillo.
Shout out Johnny. Yeah, and he's doing right here. He has a film festival
this
week, right in Pomona. Yeah, and I go, hey man, we got a quote for you, and then we quoted him on a podcast that he uses all the time. He's like, hey, I said that. I was like, that's my quote. I was like, that's right, man. We pay attention to what's going on here. But that's really cool. Thank you for coming through, and we hope that your healing journey continues and
to make an impact on others that are going through it.
Absolutely. And it helps them too with the story that you just told today.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Head on over to Tapped In Media, YouTube. That's where you can find us, and also on our socials, Instagram, TikTok. Tapped in _media.
Come on, dude.
God, dude. I know, it's so bad. All right. Till next time, you guys, please take care of yourself.
You're fired.
Oh, my God.